So, News Nation recently did a town hall based around Trump's first 100 days. And they brought on several people from Trump himself. He phoned in to James Carville and Patrick Bet-David, okay? And a few other people as well. We'll get to a couple of those folks. But the first person I want to talk about is James Carville, because he starts to lie, as Democrats typically do. And Bill O'Reilly, who's on the panel with Stephen A. Smith and Chris Cuomo, Bill O'Reilly absolutely obliterates him, calls him out straight to his face on his Trump derangement lies. And I want to dive into it. Bill O'Reilly gets on someone else as well later on in the video, but let's jump into James Carville first. Let's dive in.
Jimmy, let's deal with what we're dealing with. Let's set the table with what the problem is, okay? Because I think that the space that's being made for Trump is that he's picking on the right problem. I'm not talking about trade. In this country, the fastest growing socioeconomic group is billionaires. This was a middle-class motivated country. I never liked that word. I think you should just say the majority. The imbalance is real, okay? It's felt by people. It makes them angry. What do you do about it if not what Trump is doing? So Trump, you don't like what he's doing. What would you do because the issue beats you?
It's an excellent question. The first thing I would do is I would not extend these billionaires' tax cuts, and I would not pay for them by clobbering the middle class and the lower middle class by cutting Medicaid expenses, of which
he said he wasn't going to cut Medicaid.
Go watch the budget that's been submitted. It's already got 600. He said he was going to end the war.
There's nothing about cutting Medicaid in the budget.
This is just propaganda, Jim. Did he say I'm not? Did he say or not say I'm going to end the Ukraine war?
It's a bunch of bull, and you know it. No, you can't. You can't say it's in the budget. There's a Medicaid cut when there isn't.
Excuse me for speaking while you were interrupting me.
I am. This is ridiculous. And he does it every night.
Can I make a point?
Yes, go ahead.
He was going to end the Ukraine.
I mean, but that's exactly what Democrats do. They sit there and lie. Notice how he's changing the subject, too. Now he switched to the whole Ukraine and Russia situation after Bill O'Reilly called him out on the fact that there's no cuts in the bill, right? There's no cuts to the aid that's going to American citizens in the bill. Now, what they were doing was trying to cut some of the waste, fraud, and abuse, but they weren't. Trump's not cutting anything that's going to American citizens. But that's the lie that they always tell.
War on day one.
Oh, come on. It's absurd. What did Biden do for 4 years in there? Nothing. Drive me nuts.
He said he was going in the Ukraine.
You can't tell by your demeanor.
Please fact check me. Somebody look it up on your cell phone. Did Trump say I'm going to end the Ukraine war on day one?
And I was going to wear an LSU T-shirt, but I'm not now.
You don't have to.
Can I ask a quick question?
We'll get over it.
You got to fight to get into this.
I'm not going to fight.
You got to get in.
Question.
Oh, man, I love how Bill O'Reilly just absolutely stopped him dead in his tracks. Like, no. You're not about to sit here and lie about this like that. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then to switch it to, well, Trump said he's going to end the Ukraine war on day one. Okay, what did Biden do for 4 years? What did he do? What did the Biden-Kamala administration do for 4 years? Like, let's be serious here, okay? Yeah, did Trump believe he could get that done? Sure. But there's obviously a lot of other factors at play, including probably and maybe the Democrat Party talking to Zelensky, trying to convince him to keep it going, maybe. What do y'all think? You let me know. But let's move on to the second part of this that I want to talk to you guys about.
Massachusetts Democrat member of Congress Jake Auchincloss and Georgia Republican member of Congress Dr. Rich McCormick. To those who are watching for the first time, I want to say to you guys, you've done this consistently and you do it well, and I thank you for it. You are showing people that you can disagree without being disagreeable. So thank you both. So I'll start with you, Jake. What we've been talking about, I don't know if you heard the president's interview, but he was basically saying, look, somebody's got to save the country from these trade imbalances and America getting taken advantage of. It's not going to be easy. It may not be quick. There may be some pain, but it had to be done. Your response.
Chris, thanks for having me on. Rick, it's nice to be with you again. Chris, I have a trade imbalance with my grocery store. It doesn't mean my grocery store is taking advantage of me. The president is using talking points to obscure the fact that he has broken his core campaign promise. His core campaign promise was, I'm going to be good on the economy. He's been bad on the economy. The economy contracted this last quarter. If it does that again next quarter, it'll be a recession, the first man-made recession in American history. And there's every indication that it will.
Wait a minute. Hold on. He said 2 quarters of negative GDP. I could have swore Democrats said that wasn't the definition of a recession. Kind of interesting how that works, isn't it? When it's a Democrat administration, 2 quarters of negative GDP is a recession. But when it's a Republican administration, all of a sudden, it's a recession. And if you guys don't remember Democrats saying that, well, here's a little refresher.
Many of you have reported on. As Secretary Yellen said on Sunday, 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of recession. It's not the definition that economists have traditionally relied on.
Interesting how that works. And even Karine Jean-Pierre, you remember her, she said the exact same thing.
To where we are today.
If things are going so great, though, then why is it the White House officials are trying to redefine recession?
No, we're not redefining recession.
If we all understand a recession to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth in a row, and then you have White House officials come up here to say, no, that's not what a recession is. It's something else. How is that not redefining recession?
Because that's not the definition. That is not the definition.
Brian Deese said in 2008, of course, economists have a technical definition, which is of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
I can tell you this.
Yesterday he said 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of a recession.
It is.
Interesting. Very, very interesting how that works. On one hand, it is a recession. On the other hand, it isn't. So which one is it? Is it or isn't? Of course, if it's Trump in office, it's a recession. If it's Biden or a Democrat, then it isn't.
Talking points to obscure the fact that he has broken his core campaign promise. His core campaign promise was, I'm going to be good on the economy. He's been bad on the economy. The economy contracted this last quarter. If it does that again next quarter, it'll be a recession, the first man-made recession in American history. And there's every indication that it will. Price expectations are surging. Private sector employment is contracting. And we've got Walmart and Dollar General CEOs saying that their customers don't have enough money to last until the end of the month. The president is failing on the economy right now.
How do you see it, Doc?
I disagree. First of all, I just came from a lectureship at the Library of Congress. They were talking about Reagan. They were talking about what a great president, what he did for America. One of the greatest things that Reagan did when he came in after the end of the Carter administration is give back America its mojo. Make you proud to be an American. Stand up to the bad guys. Talk about responsible government. Talk about common sense government where you don't have 10 million people coming across the southern border, where you're not ashamed to make money, where you're not relying on class warfare and racial baiting to make your point, to pay off people to vote for you. Those days are over. Those days of hiring people for millions and billions of dollars to do the wrong thing here in America and overseas are over. We're going back to accountability. I think that's something America wanted. That's what they voted for. That's what they're going to get. Whether the economy falters or not in the short term, look at us in about a year. That's when we're going to be able to tell. That's when the midterms are going to reflect on everything that happens. Because when you have 70 countries come to the table and say, let's have 0 tariffs, that is a huge win for America.
Jake?
Chris, my friend from Georgia just set the world indoor record for MAGA talking points. I'm glad that he thinks people shouldn't be ashamed to make money. I agree. This is capitalism. The good news is no one's going to be ashamed because no one's making any money. $4.6 trillion have been wiped off the value of the stock market under President Trump's tenure. Okay, that's people's retirement accounts. That's how they save for their kids' college educations. That's how they ensure that they have financial freedom as they enter their golden years. And it's gone because him and Howard Lutnick put together a PowerPoint slide calculated with first grade math. Nobody in this world is taking us seriously right now. Russia is laughing at us across the negotiating table. China can't even figure out what the tariffs mean. And Japan and Australia and our allies in Europe are wringing their hands wondering what happened to the country they used to be able to rely upon. Meanwhile, the cost of a vehicle in this country is going to go up by $7,500.
Wait for it.
With nothing to show for it.
All right. You got a lot of people rubbing their hands on their pants.
Okay,
right?
believe me.
especially him.
With all due
Hey,
respect,
let's
Congressman.
not talk about the biggest robbery to anybody's savings account is inflation.
Hold on. Party politics bores me to death. Okay? You guys are champions on it's not a MAGA thing, it's a party. You can't possibly think that within 100 days, Donald Trump has wrecked the entire U.S. economy. That's absurd. Nobody would make that statement other than a partisan player. You've got to give. Now, Trump may fail, and he knows if he does, his legacy is blown up, and he doesn't have a long time. As one of our audience members made the point, there's some urgency. But to just say, oh, $1 trillion is gone, when the stock market could go up 5,000 points in 2 weeks if the trade deals that Trump is saying are going to happen do happen. So let's stay in the real world and let's try to put the party nonsense aside, okay?
And I would add party nonsense.
It is nonsense, Congressman, and you know it. You're reading off a script. You're bringing in a script that you've said 50 times in the last 3 days. It's nonsense.
Bill, don't talk to me about nonsense. When I'm out in my district talking to small business owners who are laying off their workers, I am talking to social service providers.
What's the unemployment rate in the country, Congressman? What's the unemployment rate in the country?
This is the economy that Donald Trump
What is the unemployment rate in the country?
And at the same time,
you don't know.
At the same time as he is adding $7 trillion.
You don't know what the unemployment rate in the country is.
It's 2.4%.
So don't give me this.
Let's remember back.
Man, do I love that. Man, do I love that. Bill O'Reilly, man, he did his thing. Man, he pulled some numbers on James Carville and that Democrat there, Jake, I believe his name is. What is his name? I forgot what Chris Cuomo said his name was. Jake something. But anyway, absolutely love it. It's about time that these Democrats get called out on their lies. And as a matter of fact, we have some great news. But before we get to that, I do want to mention, notice how Democrats always talk about, well, I've been talking to X, Y, and Z people, or I've been talking to Trump voters, or I've been out talking to my constituents. Where are all these videos of these folks talking to anybody? Can anybody show me any video of AOC, Jasmine Crockett, this Jake guy, any of these Democrats out on the streets talking to all of these people that they always claim that they've been talking to? Show me. I dare anybody. Show me. Because they always say that in these videos. Every single time. Well, I've been talking to, or Trump voters. Like what Trump voter is going to sit and talk to you? Like, stop it with the nonsense. Like, we know y'all snakes. I'm not stopping and talking to you. Come on, let's be real. You're not talking to no Trump voter. You're not even talking to your own constituents. Stop with the BS. But anyway.
All right, breaking moments ago, the April jobs report just released showing steady gains amid some economic uncertainty. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now with more. All right, what are we seeing in the numbers? What is the context here?
Yeah, Omar, we were bracing for a slowdown in the jobs market. We did not get that. We got steady hiring. This jobs market is just relentless. Let me run you through the key numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
177,000 jobs were added in the month of April. That easily beat forecasts for 135,000. So not even close there. The unemployment rate stayed low. It stayed at 4.2%. When we look at where the jobs are right now, we're seeing solid gains in a number of places. Accommodation and food services, right? Restaurants, hotels, hospitals, healthcare, private education, all of them adding jobs. One place where we saw a loss of jobs again was the federal government as the DOGE cuts to the workforce continue. But still, when we really zoom out here, this jobs market has been solid, right? I mean, 177,000 jobs, that, when we look at the trend, look at this. We saw that March was actually significantly revised lower to 185,000 jobs added. That's down from the original report. So you can see that there really isn't all that much of a change here, and these are still very solid numbers. Now, this is a big contrast to what's shown up in the surveys, right? We've seen so much gloom and doom from consumers, small business owners, CEOs. There's all of these concerns about...
Listen. If there is any concern, it's because of mainstream media always fear-mongering and saying, oh my goodness, everything is bad, Trump's destroying everything is terrible. But when you actually take a look at the numbers, when you actually open the hood and take a look at these numbers. They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. Even though mainstream media continues to try to fearmonger. So all of this nonsense is just that. Nonsense from Democrats. Nonsense. Is the economy in the greatest shape ever? No, of course not. Of course not. But it's not in the dumps either. And if it's not in the dumps now, when Trump is really shaking things up, what do you think it's going to look like by the time midterms roll around and all of the tariff situations is resolved and Trump's agenda is full steam ahead? What do you think it's going to look like when midterms come? Exactly. I rest my case. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.